this video, I'm going to show you the chord progression for Champagne Supernova. So pick up your guitar, let's get started. Right, so the chord progression of the verse is fairly simple. It's all based around an A-sus chord, an A-sus, which looks like this. So it's an A-sus2. Basically, it's like a lighter version of your A minor or A major chord. What I do is I've got my middle finger on fret number 2 of the D string and my ring finger on fret number 2 on the G string. And I would strum from the A string on because it's still an A something. And everything on the verse is based around that shape. So what we'll do is we're going to stay on that chord for 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. But then we're going to change the bass note. And the bass is now going to be a G on the next bar. So 4 beats on that. 3, 4. And then we're going to move that bass down a semitone to F sharp. So F sharp, I'm playing it with the thumb most of the time. But you could also change your hand position and have it like with the middle finger. So that would mean changing these two fingers to fingers 3 and 4. It's definitely doable. You could go. And then you change. So the two options are perfectly valid. It's up to you. I like just keeping these fingers on and just having that F sharp played with my thumb, but I understand some people don't like it. It's perfectly fine to use different fingers to do that. Right, so let me just put together that chord progression of that verse, just so you got it in your head. I'm not going to strum too much. We're going to talk about that in a sec. 1, 2, 3, 4 over G, 2, 3, 4 and F sharp, 2, 3, 4 and E, 2, 3, 4. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4 over G, 2, 3, 4 over F sharp, 2, 3, 4 and over E, 2, 3, 4. Right, so now let's get into the strumming pattern for that verse. What I'm doing is a very consistent pattern here on this video, but you're more than welcome to change it and add things, remove things, but it's all based around 16th notes. So what I'm doing is, you'll see that with my right hand. Every time I'm counting, you'll see my right hand moving down on the numbers I'm saying and the and. So we would go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, let me show you the pattern I'm playing. The pattern goes like this. If I stay on A-sus, 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and a 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and a 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and a. So without the chord, just so you can focus on the rhythm, it would go 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and again 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and a. If I just talk about the movement of my right hand, because I know some people click with that better than the numbers and the letters I'm saying, it would go down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up. And I'm going to keep that very consistently over the verse. Something I'm doing though is, you notice how the verse is based on that movement of a bass note. So the bass note goes from A to G, F sharp, and E. So what I'm doing is on beat number 1 of each chord, I'll tend to put an accent naturally on that one string where the bass is shifting. So it would go something like bass, bass, bass. So you could add it here and there to add some dynamics to your pattern, but you want to have it on beat number 1 just to follow what the bass player is playing as well. Another thing I'm doing, just to add more dynamics to it, is I'm strumming harder on beats number 2 and 4, but not only just harder. If you look at my right hand, usually when we strum a chord, let's say A-sus, we play 5 strings, right? We play, these 5 strings. Now on beats 3 and 4, I'm going to focus a little bit higher. I'm going to play over these 3 strings over there, just to add an accent to my strumming pattern. So it would go something like this. Listen to beats 2 and 4. 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and a 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4. And it's just a way for me to get, you know, on the original song, it sounds like there's that drone going, and it adds a little bit, almost like a bell sound. You get, it keeps on ringing as you're transitioning. So it helps me get a nice flow of something that is very fluid and doesn't sound too dry. We don't want something that would go. Right, so hand loose and adding these little accents here and there is a very nice way to just make you sound better straight away. Right, so that's for the verse, that's the chord progression for the verse, and a big chunk of the song actually, even the first chorus. But then later on in the song, the chord progression changes, and to introduce that change, the last chord we're playing, instead of being an E over A sus, we're going to swap that with an E major for 1 bar. And I'm going to change the pattern because I want the intensity of the song and the dynamics to just go up. So I'll move on to that E major, and what I'll do is just downstrokes on all my 8th notes. So it would go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that's the bit where the next part of the song starts. So if I play that chord progression that again introduces that change, it would go like this. So same pattern so far. To F sharp. But switching to E major, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and now we want to hear the second chorus, which is the big one. Notice that not only my pattern is changing and I'm playing a lot of downstrokes, but also I'm digging harder and harder, just like rising that volume up. Right, so let's move on to the chorus. The chorus goes like this. The outro of the chorus. Right, so it's a pretty long chord progression, but it's really fun to play. Right, so something you may have spotted is that we want to bring the energy up on that chorus. The pattern is going to shift a little bit. I started with pretty much the same pattern we've seen, just changing some downstrokes and upstrokes here and there. Nothing too precise, to be completely honest with you. Even if you watch the band video, you'll see that my pattern changes. You want to fit the dynamic of the band. The important thing is to keep that 16th note pattern going. So again, the pattern went. So if I count along, 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and you could keep that. That's perfectly fine. You could play less. You could go 1, 2 and a 3, 4 instead of 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4. Up to you. As long as the right hand's moving, you're safe. Now the first chord of that chorus is A major, and I'm playing it for a whole bar. So 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and a. I'm playing that A major with my index finger flat just because I like it. It's also muting that high E string, which is fine. I don't really need it. If you play this way, the regular way, the proper way, it's more than fine, don't worry. Do as I say, not as I do. But yeah, I play it with my index finger. So 1 bar on that A major, same pattern as the verse we've seen. Moving on to G major, same pattern. And then we move on to D major over F sharp. What that means is you're playing a D major, so that little triangle here, but then my thumb is going to play that F sharp on fret number 2 on the lowest string. You should be muting the A string with the thumb. If you can't, it takes a bit of time, I know, but it's going to get there, don't worry. You can definitely aim for something different with the right hand. So either that F sharp and then the chords, but it's going to get there, don't worry. It's all about getting that thumb to work, which I know is a challenge at first. So we've got that chord for a bar, and then we move on to E major, a bar as well. And we repeat that twice. So I'm going to play it twice just so you get the melody in your head. So same chords as we've just seen. And again. Notice I'm also adding an accent, just like we did on the verse, an accent on beats number 2 and 4, so the back beats. I invite you to watch the band video and to listen to Camille's drums, and you'll hear that she's doing the same thing, which is it feels natural to add that accent when you're strumming on 2 and 4, just like the drums would. Really important to get that right so you sound like a band and not like individual musicians that play sort of the same song. At the end of that chorus, we move on to a different section with, that's the bit where we want the most energy we can. So I'm going to switch to only downstrokes. And the pattern would go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that would be a whole bar. I'll do it again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I strum hard there. I'm digging in. The first chord we've got on that transition part out of the chorus is a G major, and we're going to play it for 2 bars. So I'm going to play that pattern I've just shown you twice. 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and moving on to A major, again with my index finger flat, that we play twice as well, 2 bars. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and back to G major, but this time just 1 bar. 1 and 2 and and moving on to D major, 1 bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and we finish with E major, 2 bars, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and so the pattern is a lot easier, so that probably is a way for you to focus more on the right hand and to get that energy. Notice I'm still hitting hard on beats 2 and 4. We want to bring that up a little bit. I'll play just that outro from the chorus on, so it would go starting from G. 1, 2, 3, 4 and A, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 and G, 2, 3, 4 and D, 2, 3 and 4 and E twice, 2, 3, 4, last one, 1, 2, 3, 4 and after that we go back to the verse. So that's why you want that peak of energy to be on that last chord of the chorus, that transition on E major. Right, there's one last part of the song which is sort of a middle 8-bit with a solo that's played over. The chords are all power chords. So power chord, you know, if I'm playing a G5, which is a power chord, I tend to do them with my pinky. But if I walk you through them, I usually teach them. So you've got your index finger on the root note, in that case on the lowest string on G. And then I've got my ring finger on fret number 5 of the A string and my pinky on fret number 5 on the D string. And we're just playing these 3 strings. Now, of course, because we're strumming hard on that, especially on that part, you're going to hear the other strings. So you want to have your index finger flat enough for it to choke the strings, but not to be not plucking, but like fretting the notes, basically. You don't want to hear, that would be a minor chord. You just want to hear. So relax the index finger. The index finger is just playing that root note over there. So that's the shape. Now the chords we need, we're going to need an A5. So it's the same shape, but on fret number 5. We're going to need a G that we've just seen, an F sharp, so down a semitone to fret number 2. And then we're going to need F and back to G. And the chord progression goes F5 for a bar, and again, the right hand is just playing 16th notes. Sorry, the right hand is just playing downstrokes. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and to G. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and to F sharp. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So you see so far these three chords, one bar each. But then we move on to F, and F is just going to be half a bar. So half a bar on that F, and then half a bar, the next other beats we've got on a next G5. So I play that next part and I count along. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and G and 2 and 3 and 4 and F sharp. 1, 2 and 3 and 4, and here careful. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and we start again. And 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and F sharp, a whole bar. 2 and 3 and 4, F and 2 and G and 4, and one more time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2, 3, 4, F sharp, the whole bar. F, 2 beats and G, and one last time. 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and F sharp, whole bar. 2 and 3 and 4 and F, 2 and G, and then you're going to go back to F, 1 and 2 and back to G. One last time, the same thing, and back to the chorus of the verse. See, that middle 8 bit is the bit where you want that there's quite a big solo played over. That bit there, you really want to be solid on it, just downstrokes. And the structure is it's fairly easy to remember, because you start with A for a bar, then G for a bar, F sharp for a bar, and then F and G share a bar. And you would do that, let me check my notes, 4 times. But on the 5th time, instead of repeating the whole thing, you just do F for 2 beats, G for 2 beats, and again, F for 2 beats, G for 2 beats, and that's it. Right, so the first thing to know about this intro and solo that I've played on the band video is that I'm in the key of A major. So we're going to need the A major shape number 1 of the pentatonic scale. Let me walk you through that quickly. I started on shape number 1 starting quite high. So I've got my pinky on fret number 17 on the E string, and I'm playing shape number 1. It's quite hard to reach that note over there. Luckily, we don't need it. And the intro, the way I started, so I recorded that drone, which was just the note A. And then I slid from fret 14 to 16 on the A string, then played fret 14 on the D string. And then I jumped to the harmonic on fret number 12 on the B string. But you could play the same notes on fret 16 on the G string. So it went, which is pretty much what's going on the song. Now the rest of it, to be completely honest with you, I think I was just noodling around with the same concepts they've used on the recording, which is what I suggest you do. It's really fun to do that kind of stuff. But the most important thing is to spot that shape number 1. So you see this 14 to 16 here, I'm literally starting from the top of shape 1 of the pentatonic scale in A major and sliding all the way down to the bottom of it. We're going to need that shape quite a lot on the intro. Then after that, I did a lot of... So what I'm doing here is I've got my index finger flat on fret 14 on the D and G strings. So you've got these 2 notes. But I'm going to play the D string and hammer on fret 16 before playing fret 14 on the G string. So we get... And I played a lot with these 3 notes. See the second one that I've just played here, I'm hammering on 14 to 16 on the D string. And then I went back to fret 14. So far we've got... And once you've got these two licks, so the first one being, and the second one, you can sort of noodle around with these a lot. You could also add fret number 16 on the G string. So you see here I'm doing hammer on from 14 to 16 on the D string, and then hammer on the same frets but now on the G string and pull off back to 14. So, and step by step you start sounding more like the record. So I would suggest you have fun with that shape number 1 over there. It's quite high, but it's really fun to play that over just that note A, like I did on the intro. What I did then was, just like on the recording, I jumped down an octave. So now my pinky for the shape number 1 would be on fret number 5 on the E string, and shape number 1 of A major, still in the same key, would go. And I played exactly the same thing that I was playing here on that shape number 1, but now here. I don't think I stayed on this too long, but you could definitely explore that and stay there a little bit longer than lead. And then you jump back an octave higher. And then to transition into the beginning of the song, I did this. So on that lick, I'm starting with the middle finger on the G string fret number 4, and I'm sliding up to fret number 6. And then my index finger, that's why I'm using the middle finger to slide, my index finger is free to play fret number 5 on the B string. So you get... And then I'm going to do exactly the same thing, but between frets 2 and 4. So I've got slide with the middle finger between 2 and 4 on the same string. And now my index finger is going to play fret number 3 on the B string. So the whole thing would go. And just to finish that, I went back to fret number 2, which is the top of my shape 1. Now, because I'm starting to play the chords on that bit there after that transition, I think I jumped back to an Oasis, so it would have gone. And I'm out of tune. Let me just tune my guitar quickly. Okay, moving on to the actual solo that I've played, which is the same as the one that's played on the recording. Solo goes like this. Okay, so we're back onto that shape number 1, an octave higher. So again, pinky on fret 17. Can't really do that on a Les Paul. I'm doing my best, but then that's your shape 1 of A major. And we're playing pretty much the same notes we've played on that intro I've just shown you. We would start with the ring finger on fret 16 on the G string, and we're going to bend that string a turn, back, and then fret 14 on the same string. So you get... After that, I go back to fret 16, a string above on the D string, and back to fret 14 on the G string again. Try that again. Just a quick side note, you may have seen me bend down instead of do as I say, not as I do. You're supposed to bend up. It's just a habit I've got. So we finished that sort of part of the lick by going back again to fret 16 on the D string. So we've got one more time. And after that, we're going to go to fret 14 on the A string, and we're going to go up the scale. And we stop on 14 on the G string. So the whole thing would go. One more time. Once we're here on fret 14 on the G string, I'm going to go to fret 16 on the same string and back to 14. So the whole thing. And that's the whole lick, and we just loop that around, right? So once you got that lick running that way, what would be nice is to add hammer-ons and pull-offs and that kind of stuff. So that's what I do, for example, on the bit where we go up the scale. I would go hammer-on. You see two hammer-ons, two consecutive hammer-ons. And here, from 16 back to 14, I tend to play a pull-off. So if I put everything together, all in all, we repeat that lick 3 times. So it would go 3 times like this. After the third run, we just go to 16 on the G string. So notice I've got my ring finger on and fingers 2 and 3 are on the same string. I'm going to bend that string up a tone. And my pinky, can't really see that, let me turn around. My pinky is going to reach now on fret 17 on the B string. I'm going to play these two notes together. So let's play the whole solo. So remember 3 times the same lick, and then we just finish with. So all together. Third time. And the end. And that's it for the solo. Have fun with it. Try to visualize your shape number 1 in A major. Playing over here can be a little bit challenging because the frets are so small, but it's a great way to just develop your vocabulary over these two same shapes. I'll see you on another video. Bye.